Announce our brand new Drive Tour.
True TV and Practical Jokers, the Drive Tour, starring Q, Murr, and Sal. Saturday, July 13th, Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort. On sale now at theoceanac.com. 16 years of age or older suggested to attend.
Drive. Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him, it's a sack!
Sixers.
Oh, baby!
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort studio, here's Josh Hennig.
Monday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. We are back from another busy sports weekend. Phillies still holding on to a 5-1 lead, but they got a man on second with one out. Brandon Marsh to plate. Alec Boehm has not extended his hitting streak yet. He has been 0 for so far in the game, but a 3-run bomb by Bryce Harper put them in this position. Phillies are winning games. How fun is it to say the Phillies are the best record in all of baseball? We'll touch on that this hour, as well as we got to react to what Daryl Morey had to say. Daryl Morey had a press conference today at 1 o'clock, and, you know, Daryl Morey is the kind of guy who I thought Mike Gill mentioned it very well, which is he is someone who thinks before he speaks. He is not somebody who just, opens his mouth and lets all the words fall out without thinking about what words he's putting out into the universe. And we're going to break it all down this hour. Austin Krell, our Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com. He'll join me coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973 in your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. You know, when you think about the Sixers offseason, we already over. But I thought about the Sixers and their offseason. I think that early in the press conference, there was something that he mentioned that I thought was very important. There's actually two parts to this audio that we're going to touch on, but I want you guys to hear what Morey said in its entirety, because very early in the press conference, he set a tone. And the tone was that Morey is aware and understands that this is all on him now. That the burden of putting this team in the direction it needs to go. He has all this salary cap space. He has all these assets he can play with, right? He's got basically an open roster he can rebuild this offseason. He doesn't have the constraints that he has had in the past financially or contractually. And Daryl Morey admitted that it's on him now, that it's up to him to take the bull by the horns. And he admits that he made a mistake at the deadline.
That long stretch without Joel was tough. I feel like I could have done a better job with the players so that we were in a better spot to win without him. That said, we do spend 90% of the time figuring out how to win the title with him. It can't be a big focus how we play without him. We know that team can't win a championship. It's really just how do we manage through it better. I felt like on me, the depth wasn't quite there when he was out to win at the level we wanted to win at.
Two huge takeaways from that audio. Number one, he begins and ends the answer explaining that it's on him. It takes good awareness and maturity to admit when you're wrong in a public setting like that. Because he could have deflected. He could have said, well, I acquired Buddy Hield and he didn't play well. He didn't do that. He could have said, well, I thought Kyle Lowry would be better and he didn't play as well as I thought. He didn't do that. He could have said, I gave Nick Nurse these players and our coach had some trouble incorporating them in the way that I anticipated he would. He didn't do that. What Daryl Morey did is he took responsibility. And I'm so glad he did, because and complaining from the trade deadline to the end of the season, how they didn't do enough. They didn't give enough firepower. And Morey says, you know what? I was wrong. I didn't do enough. Now, he also admitted that, hey, we're not building this team with the idea that we're going to be without Joel Embiid. So he also pivoted to say, look, I'm not trying to build a team that wins without Joel Embiid, but I could have done a better job of putting us in position to be better without Joel Embiid. And speaking of Buddy Hield, I thought he gave a very candid answer about Buddy Hield as well at the press conference today.
Yeah, I think at no fault to Buddy's. I think the fit was less good than I thought. Obviously most of his time was without Joel, but I thought when Joel was back that his impact and his shooting, that he'd get more open shots. He didn't, and so that's on me that it didn't work out as well as we hoped. I still think it was one of the better acquisitions. I was really happy he showed what he could do in Game 6, and based on how they're guarding us, what he can do.
Again, two different takeaways from what he said there. Number one, Morey admitted, look, I thought the Buddy Hield move would pay off more. I thought he would get certain open looks without Joel. But he said, look, we played a lot of games without Joel from the deadline to the end of the season. And he also said, look, what you saw from Buddy Hield in Game 6, he says, I was hoping for that guy for more than just 1 or 2 games. And you didn't get it for more than 1 or 2 games. So I think it's very candid of Morey to be like, look, we tried this. It didn't work out. I tried other options and it didn't work out. And, he went on to explain in the presser that, the key is to get the best players and to try to win games. And there's not a one formula always works or one size fits all. So he says, they're going into this offseason trying to put the best players available around Embiid and Maxey.
We definitely look at fit. We're not really focused necessarily on the exact, bucket, whether it's max or role player or whatever. We're focused on getting the best players within the CBA constraints, which is basically like you only get so many, you only have so much money. Generally, historically, having top players works better.
Yeah, he's right. Having the best players in the world typically helps you win games. But you also don't want to get guys who are, to use a little bit more of a heady term, duplicitous. You don't want to bring in somebody who's a duplicate or is going to have the same exact skills or abilities or positions as your 2-star players. To which is why when Morey was asked about, what do they need to get out of this offseason, he said, well, we all know to be true already.
The biggest need is, not at their position, someone at the wing who can play and deliver at a high level in the playoffs. That's the biggest need, yeah.
Well, we already know that. But Morey confirmed what we already know. And it's good that he's aware of what we already know. You listening on 97.3 ESPN FM or listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. And see how wherever you're catching the show, thank you for joining us today. Morey's explaining that some of the things we already know. But it's important that he explain that because what Morey is having to do is set the groundwork for the offseason. That he knows he made mistakes. He knows he could have done better. He believes this team can win with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and that the priority is to get players that fit those guys, to get a wing player, to build around your stars, plural. Now, of course, there's a lot of conjecture about who those players could be. Now, based on his description, we need a wing player who can perform in the big games. that technically eliminates 2 players. Because you know who that does not describe? Well, that certainly doesn't describe Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, for as much as someone like myself is intrigued by the idea of Brandon Ingram, the reality is that I know that he has not performed in the biggest games when you needed him. And then the other guy who's been rumored for several months now is Paul George. Well, the problem with Paul George is that he has not always been the best player in recent years himself. You look at just the most recent series with the Dallas Mavericks. He was not a great player. He was okay. He was solid. He had one great game, and all the other games were average to above average, according to his ability. You're talking about a guy on Paul George that for the playoffs, he was only shooting 41% from the field. And frankly, that was only because that 33-point game he had uplifted that field goal percentage and those scoring averages. But the reality is that Paul George has been an inconsistent playoff performer, and he's getting older. The last time Paul George had a great postseason was the 2021 playoffs when he averaged 26 points per game in 19 games. He's going to be turning 34 years old. So, does Paul George and Brandon Ingram really fit the criteria of what Daryl Morey is talking about? Now, we all know who does fit that criteria, that being Jimmy Butler. The problem is the Miami Heat are giving you mixed messages. Because on one hand, Pat Riley ripped Jimmy Butler today for talking about the teams that are still in the postseason. But on the flip side, he was also asked, apparently at the same press conference, will you trade Jimmy Butler? He said no. So which is it, Pat? Are you mad at Jimmy? Are you keeping Jimmy? Something's talking out of both sides of his mouth, which means Pat Riley is keeping his cards close to the vest. He's not telling you what he's holding in his hand for the offseason. But if we know anything about Daryl Morey, he's not afraid to make the big move. He's not afraid to make the big deal. He did it in Houston. He's done it here in Philadelphia. And I think what Morey is saying here is that he is ready to be better and do better. And we'll see what that turns into. Before we get to Austin Krell coming up, our Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN, a comment about 7 minutes. Let's get to your guys' thoughts and comments at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. George from Summers Point chimes in, says, hey, Josh, with Daryl Morey, seeing that there will be a lot of changes to the roster, do you see this as a possible way to get a big-name free agent to make it onto the roster next year? If so, who would you like to see them pursue? That's from George Summers Point. You're definitely going to see a big name. I don't know about the free agent, though. George, I'm getting the strong feeling that the Sixers are going to use their salary cap space to try to absorb somebody's contract. Now, who that person is, I'm not 100% sure yet. Because I think there's two separate issues going on. Number one, it's not a great free agent class. Paul George is arguably the best guy in the free agent class, not named LeBron James. And unless there's a scenario where LeBron James is coming to Philadelphia next year, which as of right now, I don't see that coming to fruition, all right? For everything I've heard and read, sounds like he's not coming, okay? But, and I say but, for whatever reason, if we have a scenario where LeBron was to come here, I think that's the big free agent you would look at. But I think it's more likely there's a trade coming. The NBA every offseason has a big trade that kind of changes the balance of power, I'll call it, in the NBA. So, whether it is a Damian Lillard to Milwaukee, a Drew Holiday to Boston like it happened last year, or you go back a couple of years ago when the Sixers acquired James Harden at the trade deadline, or in the offseason when you saw, you've seen a lot of trades happen over the years. So I'm not going to sit here and presume anything. But I think that a trade can happen. And I think that we may not know who that trade is because we haven't seen that domino fall yet. Biz from Absecon will get you in before we hit the break. Says, hey, Josh, just let me know when I can drive Harris to the airport. Listen, Harris isn't coming back. I would put the odds of Tobias Harris being in a Sixers uniform next year at 1%. I think the only way he comes back is if he can't go anywhere else and he has to come back and he takes like a veteran minimum kind of deal and he comes off the bench. I think Tobias Harris has wore out his welcome. I think he was signed by a different group of people, a different administration, a different head coach, a different front office. I don't think Daryl Morey has any allegiance to him. I don't think Nick Nurse has any allegiance to him. I think Tobias Harris might be a great teammate, might be a great person, but he's not a great basketball player. And I think it's pretty safe to say he's not coming back. We'll dig more into this with Austin Krell, Sixers Insider, coming up next. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, Joe Montana here. Back in my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia, a bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older or 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like diabetes or asthma, you're at increased risk. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Have you ever lifted a piece of furniture only to discover the carpet underneath looks brand new while the rest of it looks, well, not brand new? That's when you realize you need new carpet. At the Home Depot, we have a wide selection of all the top brands. Best of all, installation is included. So all you need to do is choose something that matches your style. Start your carpet project today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Installation included with qualifying purchases. Exclusions apply. For licenses, see homedepot.com/license numbers.
Good news, New Jersey. More residents are getting quality, affordable health coverage through Get Covered New Jersey. Established by Governor Murphy, Get Covered New Jersey offers increased plan choices and more savings than ever. If you recently had a life event such as marriage, pregnancy, or insurance loss, you may qualify to enroll now. 9 in 10 enrolling get financial help for plans that include preventive care, prescriptions, and more. And if you meet certain income levels, you may qualify for low to no-cost coverage. Find your plan at getcovered.nj.gov.
Family Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data, and you get to choose who joins your family plan starting as low as $25 a line. Does it have to be family? It can be family or people you like.
Get more lines and more savings. Switch to Straight Talk for family plan starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Hi, this is Brighton Richards from Apex East Roofing. You know, the blonde-haired girl in the pink truck. We are the first and only certified fortified roofer in New Jersey able to install hurricane, wind, and hail-secured roofs. The spring is the perfect time of year to get these roofs installed so that you're prepared for the upcoming hurricane season. Certified fortified roofs can also lower your insurance premiums. For more info, visit apexeastroofing.com.
Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at apexeastroofing.com.
Progressive asks, what do a middle school slumber party,
Let's stay up all night. Yeah.
a sleep-deprived girl, an early morning paper route, and a poorly thrown rolled-up newspaper have in common?
Hey, my window!
They can become a fast-breaking news story.
Sorry, Mr. Thompson.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive for great savings and round-the-clock protection.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Do you have a job? Do you have $199? Do you want a brand new Nissan?
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Stuck in a loan or lease? AJ the Trademan can get you released, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Then drive home in your new Nissan Altima S or Sentra SV for only $199 per month lease with zero security deposit and only $29.99 due. That's a brand new 24 Nissan Altima S or Sentra SV that gets up to 39 miles per gallon for only $199 per month. And don't forget the Matt Blatt Nissan Peace of Mind 4-day love it or leave it return policy only at Matt Blatt Nissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through DMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $589 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblattnissan.com for complete details. VIN RY229097 and RN330138. Sentra. Lease selling price $25,509. Ultimate lease selling price $27,829. Offer ends 6/5/2024. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll be chatting with Austin Krell, our Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com in just a moment. Let's get back to you guys' thoughts and comments. Wait for Austin to join the show. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free. Thanks to Isle City. Nick from Galloway chimes in and says, the really frustrating thing is that if Butler hadn't left, they at least made a finals by now. He has that killer instinct the Sixers lack. If they had to sell their soul to get him back, they should. It's an interesting comment. I don't know if it's 100% true, honestly. I don't know if it's 100% true that they would have made the finals by now. I think a lot of things have to go right for somebody in order to make the NBA final. That's not exactly as easy as you're making it sound. What is it? Nick from Galloway. So, but we got Austin Krell, Sixers insider right now from 97.3 ESPN.com joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Austin, welcome back to the show. How you doing today?
Doing well. How you doing today, Josh?
Doing pretty good. So if you could just answer Nick from Galloway's question about, they should basically, he said, sell their soul, as he calls it, to bring Jimmy Butler back. Is that legitimate? Should they be all in for Butler or should they go elsewhere?
I think there are warts to all of the options. None of them are perfect, namely that they're all in their mid-30s. Jimmy Butler, in particularly, does not typically give his all in the regular season, misses a lot of games in the regular season. For this particular group, I do not know that is the right path to take. Having said that, Daryl Morey at his exit presser today told us on the record, I will take a team that is better and more talented, whatever that might be, more star power, I guess you could say, and I will take that if that means managing them more in the regular season. Fine, I will take that over a team that is lesser but always available. So I think if Jimmy Butler is the guy and they're saying, we believe that he can reach, the 98th percentile of NBA players in the playoffs if we manage him through the regular season, then I certainly think that's a bet that is worth taking. There are basketball skill fit issues there. I'm not dismissing that. There are age concerns. I'm not dismissing that. But if you're looking for a guy who gets better on the brightest stages, then I could see why Nick from Galloway would think that.
Well, I mean, Morey said himself he's looking for a wing player that shows up in the big moments, and I'm pretty sure Butler fits that criteria more than Paul George or Brandon Ingram do, just to name a couple guys. So, do we look at what Morey said today, Austin? Like, what percentage do you take away from what he did say on the record about the offseason as like gospel? How much of it do we take as Morey talking on May 6th?
I think a lot of it is, I wouldn't say a lot of it. I would say the part about interest in signing all of our guys back is probably a lot of talk on May 6th. All of it obviously is under the context of, or under the backdrop of, like, what will be available to them. in accordance with the CBA, come free agency, come draft night, come trades, whatnot. So once they have a clear picture of the players that they will be looking at and how that money will be allocated, they will then have a better idea of who on their team they can keep and who's going to be gone. The things that I do take as gospel are the things where he says, number one, continuity does not win championships.
Right.
I think Joel would disagree with that. But I think Morey cited 3 examples of teams that won championships in a row in recent memory: the 19 Raptors, the 20 Lakers, 21 Bucks, as teams that did not have continuity, made big swings, and immediately won championships. And that, of course, comes, after a big deal that they've had on the books for a while. Tobias Harris is ostensibly off the books and gone. So, I think he is going to make a big swing at a wing this year. We will see who that guy is. I still think there is a chance maybe it is somebody that we have not thought of yet, just because there are so many different avenues they can go. I mean, they literally have 4 guys on the roster right now: Ricky, Paul, Tyrese, and Joel. When you have that much room and mobility and versatility of what you can do, there's nothing that's off the table. And I think that means whether it's draft night stuff, whether that's free agents, trades, whatever, there are still so many different things out there that they could look at beyond just the Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram. Even if you were even to put LeBron James on the table, let's say, then even that. So it's an off season of infinite possibilities, even if they are limited to 13 or whatever it is, 12 roster spots left, and the CBA that imposes limitations on them.
One of the things I thought was interesting, because you mentioned about how, there could be a player or two that we're not even talking or thinking about right now that could pop up. I think it's an important element to focus on, Austin, not because we're looking for a specific name from you, but because it's important for the audience to remember that if you go through the last 10 years of the NBA, there's always a move or a trade that happens that nobody saw coming or people didn't see coming until like the last minute, right? So it's very fair to say that the Sixers could have somebody on the roster playing opening night in October that nobody saw right now. And maybe that guy fills all the check boxes: the wing player who performs in the postseason, the guy who can help you get through the regular season, so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, only a short-sighted person would say their only options are Butler, George, and Ingram, and fill in the blank, right? Like, you mentioned LeBron James. I said before you came on that I don't think the only way LeBron's coming here is if some family thing happens. That's the only way he's coming here.
Certainly possible. It's certainly possible that's the only way he's coming to Philly. I think a lot of this is contingent upon like other teams messing up, or the incumbent teams they're on proving that they are not about the right business that those players are. They are not interested in the same things over the next couple of years. Those players are different direction, what have you. And then suddenly those players are thinking, well, what are some of the best options for me? Tyrese Maxey is a lowering option for anybody, not only with his play, but with his energy. And the Sixers are going to have their wallets open. So, I think this is just not as much about, not 100% about coming to Philly per se, but like where those players are in the dating cycle with their current teams.
Talking with Austin Krell, our Sixers insider from 973 ESPN.com, as we are reacting to Daryl Morey's end of the season press conference earlier this afternoon. One of the things, Austin, he also talked about multiple times is he admitted he made mistakes, that he should have done maybe certain things differently. He talked about, hey, we thought Buddy Hield was going to come in and be this, and it didn't work out that way. He talked about how he could have put the team in a better position to help Nick Nurse get through the weeks without Joel Embiid. So should Sixer fans be encouraged that you have an executive who's willing to admit he made a mistake?
Sure. I think that's always a good thing when you can admit, like, yeah, this fit was not great. He didn't categorically close the door on Buddy Hield coming back either. Also didn't talk as complimentarily of him as he did of Kelly Oubre and his fit here. And I think when you contrast the words that were used for Kelly Oubre versus what was used for Buddy Hield, it's pretty clear how they felt about Buddy Hield when all was said and done compared to how Kelly Oubre I thought about him when all was said and done. I still don't think that I still would. That isn't all to say that Morey's just because he admitted that he was wrong about this move or that move doesn't mean that it doesn't excuse his philosophy as being correct or whatever. I still would challenge the idea that continuity doesn't matter and that depth doesn't matter. I think all of those teams or all those things that he mentioned that to him don't matter. I think those things absolutely do matter. I think his philosophy about we can't focus on building for time without Joel when our only chance of winning a title is with Joel on the court. So what's the point for worrying about those games where Joel isn't available? I think thinking about that and then going out and saying yeah, Jimmy Butler is the guy. With the 50 games he plays per regular season, I think that's a scary, scary thing for this team, especially if Maxey does not take another major step as a playmaker, especially if the roster around them proves to not be as they envisioned. So I think they have to be really careful with the way with the choices they make this offseason in terms of the big fish they go after. Because if that is their philosophy and it's all about the playoffs, that's great. You can't be in the position again where you're the 7th seed fighting for your life to get in and to avoid certain matchups, or you don't have home court in the first round, or you're playing what is regarded as your second round matchup in the Knicks in the first round. This season went bad for a number of reasons, and I think if you're going for guys that are in their mid-30s, you leave yourself vulnerable to the same risk again.
Was there a topic or player or subject that was not brought up at Morey's presser that either surprised you or you walked away wanting to hear more about?
I was curious as to whether he felt like he was able to really gain traction on his vision for this team under the constraints that came with Tobias Harris's contract over the last couple of years. I think, he agrees to Morey and might have slipped the minds of many, maybe didn't, but, he did sign a contract extension this season, in season. It's not like they're if anyone is ready to raise pitchforks about him, sorry, but clearly he has the support of ownership because he just got another contract. So I do wonder, how much of his evaluation has already begun versus how much of it was cleaning up the mess that was in place when he got here. And, now that slate is wiped clean, this is when his time really starts. And this is when, in the eyes of the Sixers ownership, I wonder if this is when it really starts. So, his answer to the question of whether he felt like Tobias's contract or other contracts they had in the books and other, deficiencies they had that needed to be smoothed over the last couple of years, how much that affected him launching his vision for this group. I think we would have gotten a better answer to that, if that topic had been broached.
What was your takeaway from him saying what he said about the draft pick? About, oh, well, we could pick it, we could trade down, we could get future picks, or we could trade it for a player. I don't know. It really felt like Daryl Morey was almost just kind of playing, coy with the media, being like, I don't know what I'm going to do, when maybe he already has a theory of what he's going to do.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. He said, one of the things he said was that Ricky Council, for a guy who was undrafted, basically has no chance his first year. Second year, it's like you have to work your way just to have the opportunity. to maybe accidentally fall backwards into a role, and then the third year is when you really take off. So that tells you a little bit about the timeline for young guys. And then he said that rookies don't help in the present day at all. And then he goes on to say that we're in the business of winning now.
Right.
And we're going to be a veteran-laden team. So to me, that means I would be pretty surprised if that pick is there. If they keep that pick at 16, maybe they trade back and add a guy, like he said. Maybe they trade into the future and add to their chest of picks for other moves down the line. But if your idea is to win now, I do not think his vision at least involves drafting a rookie at 16.
Yeah, I kind of walked with a similar opinion you did, Austin. I feel like that pick won't just not be there, but they're going to trade for somebody or something on draft night. Maybe if it's not like a superstar player necessarily, I wouldn't be surprised if day one of the draft, remember it's day one and day two now, which that's going to be a whole thing. We're going to have to roll our eyes out when that, I mean, the NBA, the whole programming is going to be the second round when Jokic and Green were drafted, and it's like, yeah, they found like 3 examples of guys in the second round who were like star players, but no, but in the first round, Morey's definitely going to, I feel like I could bet however much money I have in the bank that Morey's trading that pick in some capacity.
Yeah, I would say you're going to have a pretty good idea about where their mindset is about their chances of landing any of these star guys. You're going to have a pretty good idea of where they think they stand with that draft night decision. If they trade that pick to clear up space or to add picks for the future, I think that's a strong indicator that they think like, okay, we are on the cusp of landing this player via trade, sign and trade, what have you.
If I can bring you back to the Butler conversation, Pat Riley today during his press conference did the incredible I'm not telling you anything, because on one hand he anonymously rips Jimmy Butler for talking about other teams in the playoffs, but then also the same press conference says I'm not trading Jimmy Butler. Like, who's better at playing coy right now? Is it Riley or Morey going on here?
I think this is all just guys playing the public negotiation game. I think Pat Riley's had some things today that are like public negotiation with Jimmy Butler's agent. I think some of it is like, him, he says, we have to, he said some things along the lines of like, we have to be more in the habits of, trying to be available every night. And I don't know if that's a call to Butler's agent about like, if you want this deal, these are the expectations we have, or telegraphing, hey, we have to be going in a different direction than Jimmy Butler because he is about this, which is okay because he's in his mid-30s and he takes it up a notch in the playoffs. But our philosophy is about this, and it doesn't align anymore. So I think there was a heck of a lot of passive-aggressive commentary from the Heat press conference. I would certainly say that these environments and these media availabilities are where some of these public negotiations, public, bat signals, if you will, are play out.
Just to separate ourselves a little bit before I let you go from just the Sixers talk, what is your feel right now for the NBA playoffs? The teams that are left, because look, the Celtics, Porzingis, who knows when he's coming back. I have an ongoing bet with a listener right now. The Knicks will beat the Pacers in this round. People are talking, is Anthony Edwards the next Michael Jordan with the way he's playing for the Timberwolves? There's all kinds. I saw your face there. There's all kinds of stuff going on with these playoffs right now. So maybe just some quick thoughts from you on the state of the playoffs here.
So, I would say this. I think the Sixers and the Knicks both battled their hearts out for the right to play play the Pacers, because I think they both knew they would be heavy favorites to win that series, regardless of who it was. For the Pacers, they, I believe, were bottom 6 or bottom 7 in the league in defensive rebounding rate. That's going to play right into the Knicks' wheelhouse. So I would certainly pick the Knicks to win that series, probably in 5. And Anthony Edwards, that dude is scary good. He's hitting baseline turnaround jumpers over his left shoulder. He's scoring 40 plus in Denver to beat the defending champs at home. He's doing it with a smile on his face. He's doing it and he's saying, "I want to kill everything and everybody." And as much as we like to say this guy, this person's the next Jordan, or this person reminds me of Kobe or whatever, that guy has all of the kill or be killed type things. I would not want to. He is the. I've almost tweeted out numerous times already this season that Anthony Edwards is the guy who's going to have GMs and coaches waking up in the middle of the night with cold sweats and heavy panting about the bad dreams they've just had.
Who do you think actually wins the championship at this point?
I would lean Denver. If you told me anyone in the West won it, I wouldn't be that surprised. Boston, I need to see what they do against, in a slugfest type environments. Like, I was having this conversation with a friend a couple of days ago. A lot of the things that Boston thinks that they've cleaned up, with trading Marcus Smart and replacing him with Drew Holiday, it's a lot of overlap in the same concerns you have with Marcus Smart and Drew Holiday. And namely, it's like, okay, which one of those guys, are those guys good organizers of an offense in the half court? And so, the Celtics are going to try to shoot you out of the game early. They are good at playing from ahead. They're very good at, beating you in the first 3 quarters. What happens when it's a rock fight in the fourth quarter and it's about, making the right decisions? I think Jason Tatum has gotten better at picking his spots and, saying I have a mismatch here and putting the ball in the deck and getting to the rim. But when it comes down to organizing an offense and getting the best shot possible, I still don't know about Boston. I'm not saying I would pick them to lose to the Knicks or the Pacers. I think right now, or to the Cavaliers for that matter. I think they're going to run to the East. They're just too talented. But any of those teams out West, I think, are good in some of the ways that Boston has concerns. Having said that, it would not surprise me if Boston just went about business as usual and pummeled everybody. So, but I think right now I would give Denver the favoritism. They've earned that. I will say, it does concern me that Jamal Murray has a calf injury. There's a lot of calf injuries going around in these playoffs, and if that thing hampers him, you could easily see them going out in the second round and it being Minnesota versus the winner of Dallas, Oklahoma City in the conference finals.
I'll just come out and say it. I think Minnesota wins the title.
Wow. Okay. I mean, again, I it would be funny, Tim Connolly.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
Tim Connolly built a team to beat Denver. He literally built the team to say, if someone's going to beat Denver, it's Minnesota, right? It's no offense, OKC. I don't think they're ready for that smoke yet.
Well, I will say this: if I would be very happy for Minnesota if they, after all of the years, 20 plus years of being in the gutter, first year where they're the headhunters in the West, they come out and win the whole thing. I think that would be a great story. I love Ant-Man. That would be an incredible story if they win the title.
Also, I think it's going to be Boston versus the Knicks in the conference finals. I think the Knicks are going to beat them up so bad that by the time they get to the NBA finals, like you said, they're not going to have enough gas left in the tank. I think Brunson is going to wear them out if they can get to the finals there.
Well, I'll say this about Boston. Everyone says the Sixers are done because Boston has the East for the rest of Joel's prime and whatnot. I don't think that's the case at all. They just gave Drew Holiday the 4-year extension. They're going to probably, I would think, try to extend Derek White. I think Boston's window is next 2 years, maybe 3 years, and they're going to have to start eating at their own foundation because of the restraints of the constraints of the CBA. So I would say never say never is what with the Sixers in their window. With Boston, what it's doing right now, as good as the Celtics are, if you told me that they had Mike Conley on their team instead of Drew Holiday, I'd probably feel a little bit better about them as the massive favorites to win the title, just because of I don't think they have a true point guard who knows how to organize an offense, and as I've said, and other teams do. I still think they're going to smash everybody in their way in the East.
Yeah, I mean, Boston's going to make I don't want to say easy work, but they're going to beat Cleveland. Like they're not losing that series to the Cavs. I think we all know that.
With all due respect to my pal George Niang, I don't think the basketball gods are going to reward a team that tanked its last game of the season to get a favorable matchup in the first round. It was a heck of a Game 7 effort by the Cavs to come back from 18 down to win, but you're in for a different animal. You're just in for a way different animal in the second round.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin Krell, our Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com, covers the entire NBA at NBA Krell on the Twitter X platform. He kindly joined us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Austin, appreciate the time tonight.
No problem. Thanks, Josh.
Back to your guys' text coming up on the other side here at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank CLC. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Business. It's all the things that keep this world turning. And behind every one of these companies is a partner helping to keep it all moving. It's why the local flower shop and your favorite pizza joint, the startup and the stadium, hospitals and hotels, banks and restaurants nationwide all choose the advanced network, cybersecurity solutions, and round-the-clock trusted partnership from Comcast Business, the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
See why Comcast Business powers more small businesses than anyone else. Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go online to ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. Ends 5/6/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 50 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. Here we'd have dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hurry! Time's running out to shop spring savings at Lowe's. Don't miss your chance to spring into deals on the appliances you need. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select LG major appliances. Because Lowe's knows spring savings. Offers valid through 5/15. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. And look at you, hands perfectly placed on the wheel. Not like the driver to the right of you who's really going after that drum solo. Save with DriveWise in the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Broken bricks, falling fences, damaged doors, Gorilla Glue. Of course. It's incredibly strong and 100% waterproof and bonds, well, virtually everything. While you're at it, look for Gorilla Tape, a heavy-duty double-thick duct tape, and Gorilla Super Glue, great for all your quick fixes and repairs. There's also Gorilla Epoxy, Gorilla Wood Glue, Gorilla Construction Adhesive, of course. You get it. If you can break it, Gorilla can fix it. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
3, 2, 1.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
It's the third month of Matt Blatt Kia's 2 for $222. And this is the final month. 2 new Kias for $222. Brand new 2024 Kia Forte. Just $111 per month lease. With 0 security deposit. And just $39.95 due at signing. With a price like that, why not get 2 for $222? Have a job clearing $450 per week? We want to approve you today. With 0 down. And pay just 1.9% for 48 months on every clearly marked new Kia Sportage in stock. Or drive home 2 Kia Fortes for $222.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 Sportage, $21.65 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Through KNF, 24 months, $111 per month, 10,000 miles per year. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 6/2/24. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
A healthy weight, more energy, and smooth, regular bowel movements. 3 things everyone strives for.
It's me, Chuck Norris. There's one really important thing we don't talk about enough: our health. Achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We're told these are normal signs of aging. So working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick.
Morning Kick is a revolutionary formula combining 10 different supplements in one. Probiotics that help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and several of the most powerful anti-aging supplements on earth. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, focused, and help manage stress.
Anybody can achieve great health regardless of their age.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com. Use code SUPPORT or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off today.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Looking to step up your Mother's Day flowers? The Home Depot has an idea. Let Mom's Green Thumb do some digging with colorful flowers, pots, and premium soils to bring out the most in her patios, walkways, and gardens. Right now, get Vigoro potting soil just $8.97 for strong, healthy, vibrant plants, indoors and outside. Shop our wide selection online and pick up your order in-store and give Mom the gift of a beautiful garden. Get Vigoro potting soil just $8.97 at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. See homedepot.com/delivery for details.
The seafood, extraordinary. The value, tremendous. The sunsets, on the house. Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant is open weekends. Dine indoors or on the deck overlooking the bay. The Phillies are always on at Yuri's. Watch the game and enjoy daily food and drink specials, including all-you-can-eat crabs, backed by popular demand. Next door to Yuri's is the Boathouse Restaurant. 2 great ways to experience the Jersey Shore's best waterfront dining. Yuri's and the Boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. Here, Phillies win, by the way, 6-1. Got some nice offense in the game. You got to give this team a lot of credit. They are playing up to the level of their capability. They started the year out a little sloppy, a little slow. The pitching staff was carrying them, but the offense is finally coming through. So I think you got to give them a lot of credit for how they have been able to execute in this series. Bryce Harper with the big home run, Zach Wheeler, another phenomenal performance. Phillies right now are, by record, the best team in baseball. Now, the question I have for all of you out there is, in the last 2 years, the Phillies have made deep playoff runs, and they were not the best team in baseball. Is there any concern that they're really good right now, but they might not be as good when we get to September and October? Again, it's something that comes into my mind because I saw the stat put out there by John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia that, this is the Phillies' best start to a season since 1995. Well, in 95, that team succumbed to a ton of injuries, completely fell out of the postseason race, and they were never the same organization after that. That Phillies team looked like it could have been something in 95. Now, I don't foresee that happening to this team because that 95 team was actually older than this current team. But Oh, and by the way, the Phillies pitching staff this year is 100 times better than the 95 Phillies team. So I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. But what I am saying is there's always that thought in the back of my mind of, I've seen the Braves do this. I've seen the Dodgers do this. I've seen other teams do this where they have great regular seasons. They have great starts to a season, but they're not able to sustain it for an entire year. And also, if the Phillies go into a slump this summer in June and or July, let's say, just use that as an example, are we going to be patient with them and say, get us to the postseason and then show up there? Again, I'm just putting it out there to ask the questions, because at the end of the day, baseball recent history shows us the best teams do not always win the World Series. Just because you're the best team on May 6th doesn't always mean you're going to be the best team on October 6th. Just something to think about before we move on. By the way, we were talking about the NBA playoffs. I am so way more invested in the Western Conference postseason than the Eastern Conference. I think Boston's going to smash Cleveland. And I think the Knicks are going to get past the Pacers. I'm waiting for Knicks Celtics. That's what I'm waiting for. Jeff Motion City, that's for you, by the way. I'm going to be right. You're going to be wrong. We have that bet. We already placed it last week. I obviously kid a little bit. Jeff Motion City is a good guy. Thanks to Austin Krell for joining me here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest in Philly sports. Plus, Justin Figueroa from Atlantic City joins me tomorrow on 97.3. Have a great night, everybody.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.